All right, Tim. In your experience, is there such thing as white privilege in Tijuana, Mexico?
I think there's probably a little bit of white privilege everywhere you go, you know. But just like anything else, there's pros and cons to everything.
Okay.
I think most people here, I don't want to say most, but a lot of people, they see the color white, and really they see the color green, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody white is made of money, is I think what people think. So yeah, everybody kind of wants a piece, you know. A lot of people, everybody wants something, they want to buy something. They want you to buy something from them, you know, or just give you money for no reason. But there's a lot of pros too. I mean, a lot of women like it. So, and some people just want to be your friends, or maybe look at you better because you're white. Just like a lot of places in the world. So there's pros and cons, but the only really bad part I've experienced, I would say, about being white is just the police hassle you and pat you down for no reason, probably a little more often than I would assume a regular person down here. So
yeah,
but no, it's for me, I would say, yeah, it hasn't been it's been neutral, if anything. Some pros and cons, but yeah, it's been good, especially for the dating. It's good.
I would agree what you just said earlier, that there is a little bit of white privilege everywhere. It's so true. In Asia, they're always looking up to the white people. In Dubai, also, I heard that the people in power, the people with the money, it typically follows the same thing as all of the other first world countries. White people typically are at the higher status of the social hierarchy in a place like such as Dubai, which is super far away. I've never been, but I would like to visit one day. So there is a little bit of truth when you talk about white privilege being effective or something that exists everywhere in the world.
Well, and even not just a white person like myself, but even against Mexican people, there's, I don't want to say a hierarchy, but there's a certain amount of racist or prejudice from lighter skinned Mexicans to darker skinned Mexicans. I dated a darker skinned Mexican girl for about a month and a half while living here, and I know she's experienced, you know, some prejudice, and people even in her apartment building like telling her to like get the fuck out type of stuff.
Really?
You know? Yeah.
Why were they telling her that?
Just because she's a darker Mexican with her roots are from the south of Mexico, you know? And like even just watching like Telemundo or TV around here, you know, I've noticed that it's all light-skinned Mexicans that they put on the TV stuff, which is not really representative of the majority of people in Mexico. So yeah, certainly there's something there, you know what I mean?
That's very true. I would wish that in their telenovelas they would have more people who represent the typical population as opposed to the minorities, or the minorities that people look up to or people maybe want to be. That's just if you remember, one of the politicians in the Dominican Republic, he got his skin whitened because he was like a mixture. He was in Dominican Republic. They have a lot of mixture and like with Africans, and he was like a mulatto. And I remember the story goes that he got his skin whitened because he wanted to look as white as possible.
That was the Michael Jackson, right? No, I'm kidding. Sorry, I'm kidding.
That was a former politician or president of the Dominican Republic. I forgot his name already, but I remember going over his story. So I made a note that I would say that it's probably better to be white. Well, I would say it's better to be white American in Tijuana than an Asian American, because although we both get targeted by the police, me as well. And then, but the thing is that I think a white American would have a better result, or better results period, in the dating market. Also on apps such as Tinder, Bumble, Badoo, or other apps out here. But also, one thing that white Americans don't have to deal with that Asian Americans definitely are going to have to deal with here and there is when they hear people talk about, hey, Jackie Chan, or Bruce Lee, Gangnam Style, and they're just like, you know, all this kind of stuff. At least as a white American, if you're walking around and people say, hello, come here, you know, buy all my shit, or, you know, spend money here.
Yeah.
You hear that, but then for a lot of Asian people, they don't hear any of that. Even though, personally, I would prefer to hear someone say hello, here, you know, come in my store and buy all my shit. But what I'm hearing a lot is like konnichiwa, like ni hao, and like, you know, they're speaking the language, which I know they can't speak it, but they're like, it's almost in a way it's mocking. But at the same time, I've gotten used to it, and I have to understand its ignorance. I've mentioned this in a previous video, and you mentioned that there was a Japanese guy that was staying with you in your dorm out here in the hostel.
There's been a couple Japanese guys actually who stayed in the dorm. Yeah.
And you said one of them had this kind of experience as well, where he was being compared to Jackie Chan by a local out here.
Yeah, we took the taxi van to Rosarito with a big group of us on a Saturday, and I think the Mexican guy was not being rude or malicious at all or trying to be racist, but just from his point of view, you know, he was just like, oh yeah, you look like Jackie Chan, and he had a good demeanor about him. But I think the thing is, at least what I'm assuming, I don't know, is they probably see a lot more white people here because of the proximity to San Diego.
True.
Whereas Asian people, while they do see them, is probably far fewer and far between, you know. So it's just more rare, and they don't know how to behave. I haven't had to deal with any racial slurs, or at least that I could understand anyway. I know no matter where you go, anywhere in the world, racism exists everywhere. So I know there's some people who don't enjoy my presence here, but I think by and large that's not really an issue, at least in my experience. But once again, sometimes I don't know what people are saying behind my back because I don't speak Spanish very well at all.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, you're a nice guy as well, so I mean, I know in many situations, regardless of what, you know, any racial thing that could go on, I would end up supporting you because I know who you are. You're a nice guy. You're always like very courteous, a really cool guy to talk to. So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. So then the other question was, have you personally actually had any issue with the racism in Tijuana? Have you, even if you felt it, or even just feeling it? Did you ever feel anything racist? Did you feel like kind of outed at any point?
Obviously, like, I feel different because I am different. You know, I don't speak the language. I am extremely white. You know, I have blonde hair and blue eyes, so I stick out like a sore thumb, and I feel different. And I realize eyes on me. You can feel the eyes on you sometimes. For instance, I went to a state fair with or I don't know if it was a state fair, but some sort of big fair they have here in town, and I went there with a girl I met, and we walked around that place quite a bit, and there was like thousands of people there, and I was literally the only white person in the entire place, and I don't really pay that much attention, but the girl I was with mentioned to me, she's just like, it's funny how everybody looks at you.
Oh.
It's I asked her, I was like, oh, is it like bad? She's like, no, it's not bad, but it just like, you know, they're just kind of, it's just different to them. So especially in a part of town where we're in the tourist zone now, but once you get out of the tourist zone, there's like, it's like there's not very many white people at all. So, but I wouldn't really say I've experienced racism. Do you remember we did the New Year's Eve celebration, and the one guy walked by and he made a comment about he was they were saying Viva Mexico, and he said Viva Mexico assholes, you know, as he walked by. And Sven heard him. So there's stuff like that you know. But it's like, it hasn't been a problem by any means. You know, like I said, it's very, very minimal, the amount of, like, and I'm sure there's some people that just feel that way no matter what. Just like if you go anywhere, there's going to be some ignorant people who feel a certain way, but it's not a problem.
So that story that we were talking about earlier, just to relay it for the viewers. So what happened was that we were with our friend who's from France, and then we we were celebrating Independence Day. It
Independence
wasn't New
Day.
Year's.
Sorry, I don't
It's
know
all
why I
right,
said
don't
that.
worry.
Yeah, Independence
So
Day.
we're in a big crowd, and then a local guy, a local Mexican guy and his girlfriend, he saw us, and then he made like this kind of offhand remark of like, yeah, you know, long live Mexico, assholes, or something. Like he was kind of saying it to us, and then our friend from France, he's a Spanish speaker, and then he made a comment back to him, and then it was kind of like it wasn't like it never went bad, but like it was kind of like I don't know what you would classify that as, like kind of an offhanded remark. It obviously was kind of provoked because we were different looking.
We're the
so
different looking
that's
people
why
in the crowd.
he for whatever reason he wanted to say that. But you know, it's his holiday. I'm like, you know, I'll give him that shit. I don't really care anyways, you know. But you know, we had a good time anyways. But yeah, that was kind of one thing where it's kind of like, obviously it's not racism. He's not coming up and saying like, oh, I hate your, you know, race or your ethnicity. But it was kind of, you know, he saw people looking different from him, so he made kind of a remark, which that can be interpreted in many different ways. But like I said, you know, people are drinking. It's a holiday.
And it wasn't even like a derogatory slur or anything. Or so yeah, I think you certainly have on that aspect. I think you have to deal with that a little bit more than I do, for sure. So
Definitely.
From some of the stories you've told me.
Yeah, but I will say though, I think I mentioned it in my past video, as an Asian American in Tijuana, or any race, once you kind of get past things like stereotypes, or you kind of get past these like ignorant comments, once you get past that and you get to know people on like a more personal level, once it goes to a more personal level, it becomes very fair. Like I've noticed out here, like like once you get to know people on a personal level, and then if when you go to restaurants, you're tipping, like you're giving good tips, and you're overall a cool person to be around, and you're peaceful, it all levels out.
It's everyone's I agree.
At the end, you know, everyone's the same. But then on top of that, if you're a Spanish speaker, then it probably becomes a pretty good place to be, you know. When you're communicating with people.
Absolutely. And that's part of it. If well, I know you're a Spanish speaker, but for me, I can understand how people might feel the way. I come in, this white guy, very white guy, and I don't speak the language, and I can see how people might, I don't know, be offended by that, I guess, or something. But yeah, I'm always trying to treat people well, and I'm not, you know, here to be a conquistador. So,
a conquistador.
So I don't know.
I always hate those comments because, okay, at this point, at this very moment, I'm not the biggest supporter of Logan Paul. I don't know if you have.
I know who Logan Paul is, yeah.
I'm not his biggest supporter because of kind of what's going on between him and Andrew Tate. That's kind of something that's going on to the side. But one thing is that I defended Logan Paul on Instagram before, because there was somebody on his Instagram page, because one thing about Logan Paul is he bought a huge mansion in Puerto Rico. And I remember on his Instagram comments, somebody, you know, maybe somebody of like Latino origin, wherever they're from, they wrote on his comment section on an Instagram post, you need to get out of here, you need to get out of Puerto Rico, or you need to get out of my land, you colonizer. And then for whatever reason, I just thought, dude, this guy has worked all his life to be able to afford this mansion that people are obviously jealous of him for having. I responded to the comment and wrote, in response to that comment, I said, are you going to kick him out? Like, come on. Dude, this guy worked his ass off to be able to afford these better things in life, and what you want him to leave? It's like, dude, you know, it's like, don't be jealous. To me, that's jealousy. But you know what? Jealousy will happen. Jealousy will happen in life as well, and that I can see a lot of I could picture jealousy happening towards like foreigners out here, maybe towards white people as well.
Well, I get it, because it is just another form of gentrification when we come down here with our American money, which is a lot more than what Mexicans make, and you know, we can a lot easier afford the big houses and stuff. and
truth.
it makes prices go up
Yeah.
for everybody else.
Very true.
So, but we're dealing with this gentrification in America right now too. You know,
Absolutely.
the big cities are the prices of everything is going up,
Yeah.
and just as you get more people in the world and people want to move to these nice places, it's what happens. It kind of
Yeah.
sucks, you know, because sometimes people get pushed out of like a place like San Francisco, for instance,
Yeah.
where I grew up. It's
Yeah.
with the tech boom got completely gentrified, and you have to be very wealthy to live there these days.
Absolutely.
It seems like.
Yeah.
So I get it when it's another race coming and kind of gentrifying you. So I understand how people might feel a certain way. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't really have an opinion on it. I don't really like gentrification, but it's just going to happen no matter what.
It's reality.
You know? It's reality, and it does make these places nicer, even though it makes them more unaffordable. You know, so I don't know. This is what happens with population growth in the world. So.
Yeah, I mean, back home, like you just mentioned, back home in the country where we're from, the United States, there are places where you and I both cannot afford to live in.
Yeah.
Well, there are many places,
Yeah.
not just some places. There are many places that I currently couldn't afford, and maybe in the future I probably won't even be able to. In the future, you never know, though. You know, life has many turns. Life can take many turns, but at the present moment, there are many unaffordable places back home. So then finally, I guess with that, my question would be for you, in terms of the dating scene out here for you, how are you, from the time, how long have you spent out here? Like 1 month so far?
In
Like,
Tijuana?
yeah.
I've been in Tijuana for about 2.5 months, I would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Okay. Do you think you've been here long enough to get a good grasp on how dating is out here as compared to the United States? Or do you think you'd need more time? 'Cause
I think I've done quite a bit of dating since I've
Yeah.
been here. I go out to bars and stuff, and for me that's a little bit hit or miss because I do not speak the language. So
Okay.
I've had a few successes just going out to bars, but not speaking the language sometimes it's kind of tough, you know. But if you just go to a club and get on the dance floor, then that kind of takes away the language element, you know. You let your body speak. But I've used the dating apps, and I've had a lot of success on the dating apps.
Yeah.
There's certainly a lot of girls out here that like white guys, and they're
Yeah.
interested in that. And so yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a white fetish. I don't really
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I've had a lot of success. It hasn't, I haven't met Mrs. Right or anything,
Yeah.
but I met a girl I dated for a month and a half or
Okay,
so. And so that was really good until the end of the month and a half, I guess. And besides that, I've just had a lot of dates and, stuff. So it's been successful. And then sometimes maybe there's some girls out here who are looking for a husband, and maybe I'm more looking for, let's just have fun. But yeah, I think there's a lot of success to be had out here for maybe, at least for someone that's for white people, I guess. Yeah.
How is that compared to your experience in the United States? If you've had enough to be able to draw a comparison.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say it's my success rate is better here. You know what I mean? Girls, well, I'm not a fetish in America because I'm more. I look, I don't stick out.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And girls in America just America's rich, and there's a lot of rich guys, a lot of people who are in really good shape and stuff, and so it's there's a big school of people to choose from. They're probably are better than me, at least it's from a woman's aspect.
It's very competitive over there. There are so many guys to choose from.
The bar is really high, whereas down here for me, I feel like I just have to. Just looking different is really, changes the game for me. So
I can see that. Do you think there's a number comparison? Have you felt, or from your numbers, have you felt like it's 2 times easier down here, 3 times easier? Do you get 4 times as much action? Do you have any rough number or rough estimates?
It's been kind of different because here I haven't been working. I've been on vacation, so I've been able to dedicate more time to these apps and going on and stuff. Whereas usually in America, I just have more going on with my career and just all of life, you know. Whereas I've just so it's been a lot more here, but that's also a time factor of me being able to dedicate more time and just being interested in dating a lot, and it's been so successful. It's like a stocked pond, you know what I mean, in fisherman's terms. So yeah, I guess it's different. It's been a lot more than usual, but also the amount of time and effort, you know. Usually in America, I'm not, you know, spending a bunch of time on dating apps because I'm just busy with my life, you know, and so yeah.
Okay. But overall, like, the feeling is that, yeah, definitely there's much higher success rate over here than back in the States.
I would say, yeah, for sure. I would say that. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, hey, I wanted to thank you so much for this interview. Thank you so much for answering that question of does white privilege exist in Tijuana, Mexico? And just want to tell the viewers, this is Tim. I'm Andrew. Please hit that like button and please subscribe. I'll see you next time.